am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
This is Mike of Genuine Chit Chat and Dan of Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls, and we are here in Bristol at the end of the Forbidden Worlds Film Festival, and we just want to introduce this video to say we had the absolute pleasure of speaking with Gale Anne Hurd, legendary producer of Aliens, Tremors and so much more, and this video is actually ourselves and other members of the press team interviewing Gale Anne Hurd, asking her a few questions of a variety of different topics, including a few that Dan asked about aliens and world building and all kinds of incredible other things, including some of her superhero films that a lot of you may not know. So strap in, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic time, and thanks again to the Forbidden Worlds Film Festival. All of the details of those involved are in the description.
Yes, check it out. It's been an absolute pleasure to be involved and associated with Forbidden Worlds, and I'm so glad Mike was here to experience it for the very first time. It's been very special, and this very thing that we did, this very recording, is very special to me and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
About 10 minutes, so yeah.
Yes.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, I'll answer more precise. It's very hard for me to be short-winded.
That's great. So I would like to ask, what lessons did you learn early on in your career that you
and
then...
you're asking me very short questions.
No, it's more simple than it sounds, in a way, hopefully. Is early on in your career you learned certain lessons, but then later on in your career, did you then kind of change what you thought about those? So think, oh, this is correct, and then a few years later go, actually, that wasn't correct. So you just steadily learned more and more and more?
You better goddamn learn the lesson the first time.
Okay, yeah.
Because you may not get an opportunity to relearn it if you learn it wrong. So no, I mean, I learned, I think I said last night, the art of compromise. That's the most important thing, is we all have to compromise regardless of what we do in life, and you have to learn the lines you just can't cross. To me, that's the most important one. And the other one that's a corollary to that is never endanger anyone's life. It's only a movie. It's only a TV series. The shot is not worth it. So I live by those two.
Amazing, thank you.
You say you're not a fortune teller, but you seemingly predicted the rise of AI.
Yeah.
But also, you were on the ground floor of this big superhero boom. We're still going through 20 plus years later. We're still experiencing it, for better or for worse, for good and bad. But what was it that gravitated you towards the two Marvel characters, the Hulk specifically and the Punisher? I'm a huge comic book fan, so I gravitate towards those characters like yourself.
Okay, so I was a puny kid, right? I weighed a lot less than this, and I'm not very formidable now. So I identified with the alter ego. So Bruce Banner, the kind of geeky, the geeky scientist who has this alter ego. And so it's his id brought to life, and who he's not responsible for anything Hulk does, which is one of my favorite parts. So Hulk smash, and Bruce can go, that wasn't me. Well, that was, but I love that, and then with the Punisher, someone without superpowers, someone has got a moral code that I think it may sound weird, but it's consistent with mine, which is sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that vigilantism is a good thing, but sometimes, you have to do the work yourself, and that's the other thing. I mean, with the worlds colliding, with John Bernthal, being Frank Castle now, it's just fantastic. So, to have a hand in the creation of the careers of these actors, I personally feel like a proud mom. And there's so many of them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much for your answer.
I was going to ask, obviously you've got an interest in science fiction, but you have worked on quite a lot of diverse projects through your career. I was wondering if throughout that, if there's any one sort of theme or something that unifies your work.
Oh gosh, yes. It is. It's very much a Joseph Campbell type of theme, which is an ordinary person thrust into extraordinary circumstances who doesn't believe they have the skill set, doesn't believe they even have the mindset to survive, much less, in some instances, save the world. And to me that resonates, whether it's The Walking Dead, whether it's the Terminator, whether it's the story of the Navajo code talkers in World War II, the Choctaw in Cold War, Man-Killer. That is in every one of my projects, except YouTube. But that's a cautionary tale about social media.
Thank you.
So, you talked last night about the difference between just making a movie and making a good movie. As a producer, what would be your instinct about that, like intuitively?
Well, I mean, it's funny. I've been on panels with people who say, well, how do you choose what you're going to produce? And they go, whatever is going to be easiest to market and sell the most toys. I mean, why get into the business then? So I got into it with someone far better known than me over that. So to me, a producer is there to tell the best version of a story that they believe they can put together the team that will tell that story best on screen. And that's what drives me as a producer. All right, I guess we're skipping you.
Tide, have we got time for one more?
We have got 5 minutes, and then I'll.
So we've got 2 more. 3 more. Yeah, go ahead. Quickly. I'll be fast.
Ben already mentioned about the difficulties of being a producer nowadays and trying to get into the industry. Part of my job as like a youth comms, trying to encourage people to still get into the industry. What would you say for you is the biggest selling point to try and get more diverse, get more women producers into the industry?
A selling point?
What would you say is like either your favorite aspect or what you would encourage to go, this is why you should be a producer?
The buck stops with me. I'm responsible for everything. I don't claim the successes, though. That's a team effort. But if there is something that goes wrong, it's my fault and my job to solve it. And I honestly think that is the most gratifying thing there is to try to remain humble and at the same time be a problem solver. And I know this is sort of inappropriate to say, but I do believe that genders, people who identify as women, tend to have a better skill set when it comes to that. Now, whatever that may be, it just seems like that is how we're socialized. And what and what we aspire to, and not in every instance, but in many instances, and so I'm a control freak.
I've got a really quick one. So something we talked about last night as well is the fact that you're such a good spotter for talent. You're so good at finding people that are gonna go on and do some incredible things in the industry. Is there anyone kind of out of your slipstream at the moment elsewhere in the industry that you're kind of following and enjoying their careers and really wanting them to succeed?
I need more time to think about that. So I'm sorry. There are a number of people who I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I don't want to single them out because that puts too much stress on them if they're doing a Google search and an article comes up about them and then they feel like they're underperforming my expectations. But I read a really interesting fact, which is that Denai Guerrera, who plays Michonne in The Walking Dead, she has the 7th highest box office of any actress, which is amazing. So maybe that's an answer. All right, you get the last one.
I've got my questions ready for you.
Okay, for later. Okay, do you have a question?
I mean, I would always like to know how you ended up working with Peter Hyams, because he was actually our Forbidden Words legend last year, and the Relic is a fan of. We couldn't get him to the UK, obviously, he was quite ill at the time.
Yes.
But we did Capricorn 1, Outland, and Time Cop bizarre
Oh yes,
Peter Hyde.
yes.
But I would love to know how you ended up working.
So this is thanks to Sherry Lansing, still my very, very good friend. And I had an overall deal at Paramount, and they had the rights to The Relic, and they needed a producer on set. One thing is, Peter's not easy. I'm not easy. It was perfect because we respected each other, and I earned his respect. He expected, as the producer assigned to the movie, that I was just there to screw it up. And after he realized, no, I was there to try to make the movie better, we got along like a house of fire. The script wasn't in the shape that we needed it to be in, and Rick Java and Amanda Silver came in and do the rewrites. And, great genre writers now that weren't known at all then. And I mean, we were doing rewrites while we were filming, which I do not recommend. And we really got along. And as you can imagine, once we got that worked out, having Tom Sizemore as the romantic lead, oh my God! I mean, the poor guy. I mean, he was, in my history of movies and being apparently a goody-goody, another drug addict. And literally it was almost impossible. On the other hand, Penelope Ann Miller and Linda Hunt and the rest of the cast were absolutely fantastic. So obviously working with Stan Winston again, it was fantastic. And so we were talking about the creature design, and what I loved was that it really looks like a wildebeest.
Yes.
And I had just come back from Africa and seen the wildebeest in person, and Stan said, "How did you know that?" I said, "Because it can't lift its head." And I said, which makes it, considering the scripted thing of what it's going after, was probably not the best design, but it looks awesome.
Do you know why we can't get Ghost in the Darkness on Blu-ray in this minute?
I don't know.
One day.
Search continues.
So get a good copy of the Ghost in the
No
Darkness.
animals were abused in the making of that, I can
No,
assure you.
but I love it. It's just so hard to track down. Yeah.
That's really weird.
It is. I think that.
You can get it from the US.
Yeah, and there's a German Blu-ray, but I don't think there's like a. Maybe Shout Factory might be putting one out.
Especially with Val Kilmer passing away, I watched it again, I have to say, as a tribute to him. And he is fantastic in the movie. I have so many stories about that movie. You'll have to invite me back and we can do Legend 2.
Now I've got an idea.
Legend
for
the
Animal
sequel.
Attack movie.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well,
All
thank
right,
you
let's,
guys.
Thank you.